Yes! Yes! It has happened. We finally have a lot of good news regarding the Nintendo Switch 2. I cannot wait to talk about what we have today. But without further ado, before we get to that, let's first just... Yes, good news. Yes, finally. You know, we've gone through so much of this where it's like, oh, we kind of have good news. But we were kind of like grifting. We were like, it's kind of good news. But now we actually legitimately have good news. And it's so exciting to... Wait. Okay. Little bit of bad news. Hold up, wait, no. Don't be disappointed. There's a lot of good instead of bad. There's just a little bit of bad. It's like 95% good, okay? No, we're good. But before we get into the incredible news that we have today, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, if you could please. Backslash that button, as we are trying to hit 17,000 subscribers before I go to New York next month, where I'll be there for the Switch 2 line. I'm gonna film every day. It's gonna be great. We've been filming videos every day regarding the Switch 2. Uploads every single day. Everyone's been loving it. Greatly appreciate it. If you wanna like the video too, helps out a ton. But without further ado, let's jump straight into the news. So you guys probably already know about this, but we're gonna talk about it anyways because more information is coming out regarding this almost every hour, it feels like. But we finally have a release date for the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders. It is going to be April 24th. Yes, April 24th, which is, I think, one day later than what the placeholders were showing on like the Canada websites. But I was correct about one thing, that America's pre-orders were going to happen on the same day as Canada. So that's really exciting. However, there's a lot of information that is coming out about these pre-orders that you guys will need to know, which I am going to do a video later this week on the ultimate pre-order guide that I have for you on the best ways to pre-order the Switch 2. That will probably come around Monday or Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. Best Buy will have the system available for pre-order at 12:01 on their website. Now, something to keep in mind is I believe they are the only ones to be at 12:01. So everyone's probably going to be freaking out, refreshing the website right at midnight, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, where's the system? You're good. Best Buy will have the system online at midnight, or not midnight, 12:01. I already messed up right there. I'll bet a lot of people are going to mess up that night. But stay tuned for it. Target will also be having pre-orders at midnight. Not only is Target doing pre-orders, you also have Walmart having the pre-orders available online right at midnight. GameStop is joining the fun. However, GameStop will not be doing their pre-orders at midnight. It will be available in store and online at 11 a.m. So you could look at this as kind of two chances to get the Switch 2 if the pre-orders sell out. So say that you're trying to get it at Best Buy and you're like, oh, I didn't get it at Best Buy. And then by the time you look at all these other websites, they're already gone. You'll have a second attempt a few hours, well, not a few hours later, in the morning with GameStop. So I think there's a benefit of having GameStop be later in the day, and maybe that's what GameStop's hoping for. But ultimately, I don't think the pre-order situation for the console is going to be an issue, because keep in mind, it has been reported that GameStop is going to have over 100 Switch 2s available in store on June 5th, and that is every GameStop. That's being reported. That may or may not be true, of course, but it's being reported by a lot of credible people that know stuff within the retailer space. So I think that we're gonna be okay when it comes to console pre-orders. However, there is something else that is going to be available for pre-order the same night, which I'm very surprised by this. I really thought this was gonna be a separate pre-order that Nintendo was going to push for another date, but no, it's happening all the same date. The accessories and games are going to be available at midnight when it comes to Target, Best Buy, and then Walmart, all those good stuff, except GameStop because they're in the morning. Also, another important thing to point out before we talk further about pre-orders is that Amazon has been confirmed as of right now to not have the Switch 2 pre-orders. Now, this is only in America, but if you guys are not aware, Amazon and Nintendo have kind of been in drama with each other, Nintendo of America, I should say, for about over a year now. There's been rumors reporting that Nintendo is not happy that customers have been getting their games early because they ordered through Amazon. So there's been reports that that might be the reason why Nintendo has not been sending their stuff over there. It's only happened in America. Everywhere else you can order through them. But I would not expect to see this available for pre-order over there. So don't rely on that link because it's not coming out. And the good news on top of this is that Nintendo has confirmed that the Switch 2 will remain at its $450 price tag. Yes! 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 We were all worried about this. But Nintendo has already confirmed that the price tag for the accessories will be going up, and Nintendo has confirmed what things will be going up, which I guess this does make sense because from my understanding, the accessories are happening from China rather than Vietnam, where the Switch 2 is being made. So I guess with the tariffs, this might make sense. I don't really know the whole situation over there, but we do have prices, and I will tell you the original price and the updated price. All right, the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller, originally $79.99, will now be $84.99. Now this one's gonna hurt a lot of people. The Joy-Cons, the updated Joy-Cons I should say, was originally $89.99, and with the updated price tag it is now going to be $94.99. This was already a pretty big price jump. Well, I can't say it's a big price jump, but you're paying for, with taxes included, this Joy-Cons are gonna be $100. That is pretty expensive. Joy-Cons have already been the most expensive gaming controller out there. When you consider the technology that is into it, and that's why the Joy-Cons are so expensive. But the thing about it is, and this is what annoys me so much about Joy-Cons, is there's so much tech in the Joy-Cons that do not get utilized. And because of that tech being inside of the Joy-Con, that's what makes them so expensive. So we're seeing history repeat itself where games are probably not going to utilize a lot of the Joy-Con stuff, and then you're paying so much extra money for that, and there's really no way around it, unfortunately. The original Joy-Cons for Switch 1 was $80, now you're paying $95 plus tax, that's $100. It's a pretty big price difference. And I know people are gonna be like, it's not the most expensive controller if you factor the like Xbox Elite and PlayStation Elite, whatever those controllers are called. But in my opinion, I feel like this is still considered the most expensive controller because this is just a basic controller from Nintendo. This isn't like a updated competitive play thing. So I'm still going to call this the most expensive controller because it's a basic controller that it's kind of required if you need extra controllers, extra Joy-Cons. The Joy-Con charging grip is going to be originally $34.99, updated to $39.99. Okay, this one's not too bad. The Joy-Con 2 strap, originally $12.99, is now going to be $13.99. That's not too bad. We'll take those price increases like that. But let's not take anything higher than that. The Joy-Con wheel set is going to be originally $19.99 and now $24.99. The Nintendo Switch 2 camera was originally going to be $49.99 and will now be $54.99. Now, I know that there's going to be other ways that you can utilize the Switch 2 camera, and I'll probably be talking about this in a guide video where I'll be telling you the best things that you should be buying for the Switch 2. But the camera, it's a 1080p camera that Nintendo is promoting. However, there's a Hori Piranha Plant camera that I think is going to be like $15 cheaper now, and it's 480p camera quality. And you guys might be like, that's kind of a pretty big difference in camera quality, and that is the case. However, camera quality I don't think is really going to matter for the Switch 2 because with game share and all of that, it's already going to look like 2 frames per second. So does it really matter when you're going to be seeing each other in 2 frames per second? I don't think it does. But if you want the Nintendo branded camera, you're going to be paying extra money, and I don't think there's any point to it, but maybe I'm wrong. The Nintendo Switch 2 dock is going to be $120 now, originally going to be $110. That is also a pretty big price jump from the original dock, because I think the original dock when it came out was $79.99 for the Switch 1. So, I mean, I know there's like a built-in fan to it, so there's no more tech inside of the new dock. It just sucks to see that be so much higher. The Nintendo Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector. Now this one, I don't even know on this one. This, guys, you shouldn't buy this one. The Nintendo cases suck. Trust me on this. But originally was going to be $34 and is now going to be $39.99. These cases suck from Nintendo. I've had so many of Nintendo's cases. They suck. Do not buy them. And I also don't know why it's having to be $40, because on the Switch 1, I'm pretty sure for my Zelda case, I paid either 20 or 25 bucks. It was the worst $25 I had ever spent. The all-in-one carrying case, originally $79, is now up to $84.99. This is actually a pretty cool carrying case. I have the Switch 1 one. Perfect. The Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter, originally $29, is now $34.99. Pretty sure that the Switch 1 AC adapter was $19.99 when it came out, so that's... oof. So yeah, unfortunately, there has been some price increases when it comes to accessories, but at least the system has not had a price increase. I think some people are not going to be taking this very well, which, you know, it's one of those things, I guess. And right now, as of recording this video, it looks like Amiibo is actually going to be getting a price increase too. And this one's a pretty big price increase. But there hasn't been enough information to really confirm if this is true. So take this with a grain of salt right now. But it looks like the Street Fighter 6 Amiibos that were originally going to be $29.99 will actually now be $39.99. And the brand new Zelda Amiibos that are coming, that was originally $19, will be $29.99. So this is very, 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 very sad to see those have a big price increase, because that's a big price jump. That's a very big one. Either way, it's good to know that we finally have a release date, because I had been telling you guys that my prediction is that we were just going to wake up one day and find out that the system was available pre-order. I felt like with Nintendo's track record of pre-orders, it kind of made the most sense that this was just going to be a shadow drop release, since of the delay that happened. I felt that a shadow drop release made the most sense and less chaoticness. But we have a date and it's happening next week. So get ready to be online, get ready to be in store, and it's going to be an exciting time. For me, I am not pre-ordering because I'm getting it in New York, which is really scary, because what if for whatever reason I can't pull it off in New York, getting a pre-order, because Nintendo does things differently. It's going to be really scary, and I hope I don't leave New York City without a Switch 2. That is going to be depressing if that ends up being the case. Also in the news was Star Wars Outlaws. Now, this game was announced during the Switch 2 presentation sizzle reel. It was kind of like just not really talked about. It was just 5 seconds of footage. A lot of people have been curious to see how this is going to work on the Switch 2, considering that Outlaws is not even on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So this is really showing the power of the Nintendo Switch 2, and from the 5 seconds that we saw, it was looking really good. Even Digital Foundry has said how Star Wars Outlaws should not even be possible for the Nintendo Switch 2, and that it is a quite impressive and impossible port. So I thought when they said that, that was very interesting. But Ubisoft has come out and said what the release date for this game was going to be. That is going to be September 4th, 2025. I'm surprised that we're seeing it this soon, I guess is the correct wording I would use for this, because I'm pretty sure they said holiday, and I don't consider September holiday 2025. I thought they were going to push this towards November, December, but hey, what do I know? All I know is that this is definitely one that I'm picking up because I want to see how this game is looking and running for the Switch 2, because this sounds like it shouldn't even be possible. And I'm happy that we're seeing it, because I was worried that this could be another Ubisoft situation where, if you guys remember back in 2017, the Nintendo Switch presentation had a sizzle reel, and they had Steep on there, and that got canceled. That was obviously a big Ubisoft game that people were like, oh wow, that's exciting that they're putting out on the Switch. I can't believe the Switch can handle that. Yeah, it got canceled. In fact, Ubisoft announced it through the Steep Twitter account where they were replying to somebody. Why do I know all of this? It's a great question. Either way, I will definitely be picking this up, and I can't wait to see how this runs on Switch 2. This one, wow, I'm surprised that it actually is coming out, because I thought it was going to get canceled, to be honest, but it's not. Exciting news, yeah! We also have another crazy thing that's happening that has to be wrong, But Marvelous has worded it to where they're standing their ground on this, which is going to be very interesting to see how this ends up happening. But Marvelous is saying that the Switch 2 cartridges is actually going to fit onto the Switch 1 system. Now, with one of their upcoming games, there's a Switch 1 and Switch 2 edition, but on their guide thing on their website, they are saying when you put the Switch 2 cartridge in, that the system is going to be able to detect what system it is and put the correct version on there. So say I got the Switch 2 cartridge of this and I put it in the Switch 1, I'm going to be able to play the Switch 1 version of the game on my Switch 1 through the Switch 2. So what does this mean about future releases? If this is the case, how is Nintendo releasing these Switch 2 editions? Something I was thinking about is Prime 4 is obviously having a Switch 1 release and a Switch 2 release. Is it possible it's just going to be one release now that it's, you know, this thing? But although you're paying for the upgrades of the Switch 2 edition, so that doesn't make sense for them to do that. Either way, this is very interesting, and I didn't think this was going to be possible since it was revealed through the Nintendo Switch Tour game that is unfortunately a game, that there's like a hinge on the brand new Switch 2 cartridges. People thought that this was put in there, that way you couldn't fit the system or the cartridge into the Switch 1 system. But it's kind of exciting that you can do stuff like that. I'm sure third-party developers are very happy about this because it means they don't have to make two versions of the game if they have like a Switch 1 release and a Switch 2 release when it comes to a physical release. Because if you guys don't know, physical cartridges are very expensive to produce and kind of a nightmare for third-party developers with how Nintendo handles things. So they're probably going to be very relieved that they can just release one version and not have to worry about making two separate versions. This is very confusing, and I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't come out and announced this, that we're hearing about this through Marvelous, through a third-party game. And I still kind of feel like there's a chance that this might not be true. But Marvelous, with their whole website, is standing their ground on this. I mean, reading their website, it's literally saying there's no need to download the full game. Simply insert the card into either the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2 console, and the correct version will launch automatically. I don't know. This is really weird. I wasn't expecting this. I am very curious to see what this means for future releases, though, because I feel like if Nintendo didn't want to charge an extra $10 or $20, however they're doing these Switch 2 editions, for their upcoming physical games, we could see them do something like this. That way they can also save some money. But I don't know, this is weird and very unexpected. I think very cool though, very shocking, very different, and very unexpected. How many different words can I come with the word very on top of it? I don't know. For our last story, we have an update regarding Lunar. Lunar has had a physical release that has come out. It looks like it is going to be an Amazon exclusive, and it is actually being sold out everywhere. The developers of it have been very surprised and wasn't expecting it to sell out, but has confirmed that a restock will be happening, and it's indicating that it won't be sold at other retailers. So once this restock happens, you're probably going to want to pick it up on there as soon as possible, because it's probably something that's going to continue selling out. I knew that this game was coming out, but I didn't know pre-orders were happening today, and I also didn't know it was going to be sold just through them. I think it's kind of a mistake to not have this at other retailers though, because I think this is a game that would do well at as many retailers as possible. But I'm not a marketing person, so they know what they're doing, I guess, considering that their stuff is already sold out. Guys, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the accessory price increase. Do you guys think this is going to be permanent? I'm hopeful that after, you know, a few months of these Tarif situation we got going on, that eventually it goes back down. I don't know how that stuff's going to work. Maybe that's a permanent price tag, but at the very least, at least the games and the system have not had a price increase. Could you imagine if Nintendo came out this morning was like, sorry guys, Mario Kart World, we know that you guys hate the price, but we're gonna have to make it $84.99. At least we're not seeing that, and I'm happy the system is at its price. I think that's very exciting. Guys, make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, check out the Discord server, check out the Instagram, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm still upset about the Amiibo price increase, because that is definitely going to affect me the most out of any price increase that's happening, considering that I have over 100 Amiibo. Oh man, imagine an extra $10 on the 100 Amiibo I already own. That's $1,000 before tax.